Jen.
What?
Jen, what
I see a Wolverine Easter egg!
I see
No
Iron Man
way.
3s.
Sorry.
No way.
Yeah,
Man fights with
I
metal
saw
claws in a
Tiamat.
bar brawl?
Yeah, I saw Tiamat referenced. I think I saw Ant-Man referenced. A lot of stuff going on that.
Too much.
Right? Oh my god. Well, I need this website. Where is it?
Yeah,
Where's the
bring it up,
website? Give it to me. Kyle went.
Kyle went. He's
He
got
has
all
the
the clues.
You coming to LA anytime soon?
Yeah, probably not for a minute.
Where you at?
I got some things
Where you
I
at?
gotta take care of.
Where you at?
Oh, we're in space.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's seeing his son.
I gotta talk to my son or he's gonna
Oh,
beat
God.
me up.
Oh my God, your Sylvester Stallone is
I got
perfect.
custody.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. She-Hulk episode 2 confirms the existence of Wolverine in the MCU.
Woo!
And it ends by zipping Bruce Banner out to space in a way that I wish I could leave work Zoom calls. Holy shit!
Holy She-Hulk.
This is Inside Marvel, New Rockstars official after show for Marvel's She-Hulk. I'm Erik Voss. With me is MT and Jessica Clemons. Hello, friends.
Hi.
What's poppin', homie? She-Hulk episode 2, let's go.
Yeah, interesting. Not as eventful of an episode of She-Hulk, I think, in terms of like moving the plot forward. I guess maybe we just knew that these things were coming. We knew that she'd be representing Abomination from the trailers, but still very enjoyable. I love seeing Jen with her family. I loved her connection with her dad specifically, and we got some confirmation that cousin Ched, ain't actually that smart. They were shitting on Ched.
Oh, you didn't get it? You didn't get it from the first time? Also, I like that I think this episode is more about her planting her feet as She-Hulk. She's getting more confident, and that's something that I'm happy hits in the second episode rather than like the fourth or fifth.
So, for everyone, Jessica will be doing the Easter egg breakdown for episode 2 and for all of the episodes for the rest of the season. That breakdown will come out a little later today. I can't wait to see what Jess found in this episode filled with Marvel Easter eggs.
And she also did episode 1, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out.
Yeah,
Such a great job with that one. It was so great.
Pretty damn good.
Let us recap what happened in this episode. The news of Jen's She-Hulk fight against Titania makes the rounds on local news. Titania, interestingly, is called a super influencer. The Chiron apologizes for her actions, attributes them to an extreme case of low blood sugar. So I guess she's just kind of
It
known.
happens.
I thought that was interesting.
Hey. It does happen, MT. It does happen all the time.
It's true. When you get low blood sugar, you turn into
I pick up a desk
titania
and throw
strength woman.
I throw it at a jury.
Yeah, diabetes, no joke. It bring out the worst in all of us if you're not careful.
That's why there's dye in diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And
Never caught
Other
us
people
is
die.
in it as well. And because it's something that we all must recognize. While Jen is a hero at the bar, her boss, the DA, fires her after she saved the jury, and her doing that biased the jury so GLK and H could score a mistrial out of it. So Jen looks for a new job, including a website with a ton of Marvel Easter eggs that Jess is going to break down for us later. But one that we will talk about in this episode is a man fights with metal claws in bar brawl. So Wolverine is here, folks, and it must be a slow news day because this is the MCU, and fighting with metal claws in a bar brawl is pretty tame compared to even our world, where bar fight stories that you hear coming out of daily news sites in Florida. You know, like man fights gator with metal claws, maybe, and gator and man get high on bath salts and get married overnight would be my guess.
What if that's what the writers meant, boss? What if that's what they meant? What if it was just a Florida Man article and it's just a guy with like garden shear gloves attacking people?
Right.
It could be that.
Oh, probably. Oh, maybe. It could be Freddy Krueger. You know, Freddy Krueger wannabe fights, Scary Terry fights in Dade County. I don't
100%.
know.
100%.
But yeah, you're totally right. That's probably what the
I really
idea
hope
was.
it's not just some random guy. I really hope it's
I
Wolverine.
will pick up this right here, this camera, and throw it out the window if they try to give it to anything else. I will lose my mind. I'll be that man in the bar
You better
fight.
commit, Marvel. Commit.
I will be so mad.
We get this wonderful moment where Jen visits with her family. We meet her mother, Elaine, her father, Morris, who's played by Perfect Strangers, Mark Lynn Baker. I love that guy. Her aunt, Melanie, her uncle, Tucker, her cousin, Ched. Cousin Ched, kind of a dum-dum. I really did think that there was some brainiac Ched in the family, but Bruce is just being a shithead when he talked about him last week. Oh, Cousin Ched, he might be smarter. They all know. Maybe Cousin Ched is smart in other ways we have yet to see. Maybe we're selling him short.
He got promoted at Best
Maybe.
Buy, and that is not an easy task. And I'm not
That's
joking.
true.
Right?
It is hard to get
No
promoted.
small feat.
I've never been promoted. Not once in my life.
I've worked at New Rockstars for, I don't know, 6 years now, and they refuse to change my title. I think I'm still like researcher in my contract.
Are you
because they don't want
intern
it.
in your contract?
I think I might be intern. Like they're so afraid of making me executive anything because they're like, yeah,
That's
they won't change
hilarious.
it. Yeah. So Holden Holloway from GLK&H shows up at the bar offering Jen a job running their new superhero law division, but it requires her to be in She-Hulk form at all times, which is a bummer. Come on. But Jen gets Nikki hired as her paralegal, and we meet Pug, whose gift basket includes the best gift of all, a map to the best bathroom for pooping, which I see as like maybe a joke from the Rick and Morty writer's room, because there's that whole episode where like Rick invented an entire planet just so he could poop in private. And we know Jessica Gal was a writer, not on that season, but that had to have been an inside joke of the Rick and Morty writer's room. Like,
probably.
they're kind of like, Dan Harmon's like, I need this bathroom.
I just
to poop in.
love the
Someone
way it
found
was delivered. It was delivered
He's
perfectly.
so perfect.
For
Also,
the best bathroom for pooping.
He's so perfect. Also, this is just a little behind the scenes for you. New Rockstars doesn't have that bathroom. We have 2 bathrooms, and it's in the middle of the office, so everyone can hear it.
Jess is lying to you. She does have a secret
No,
bathroom, and
no,
she's just
I
trying
don't.
to
She's
lie
trying
to the
to
rest of
throw
the
us off the
Rockstars.
scent. I
Unless
see you.
it's the like cooler in the back of the office, there's no bathroom here for you to poop in.
I think that room does exist. It's just Tommy's office, and you just gotta keep
that is
pooping.
Oh.
true. That is true. He lures us in there.
He asks us. He's like, please use my bathroom.
Please poop right next to
It's that bucket is connected to a pipe. And we're like, we don't see any pipes connected to the floor, Tom. And he's like, no.
Tommy, there's no pipes here.
There's just a hole in the ground.
We don't know what he's doing with it, but we trust that it's for scientific and academic purposes.
Stop.
Holloway assigns Jen the parole case of Emil Blonsky, Abomination. Despite Blonsky having fought her cousin Bruce in Harlem, he actually signed that confidentiality or not confidentiality waiver. He signed the waiver. He signed the waiver saying like, oh, it's fine. The conflict of interest waiver. I don't mind. He wants her to represent him, which just feels sus to me. Like, you could have, why? We'll find out, though. Jen enters this DODC Supermax prison. This is the same one that the clandestines pretty easily broke out of in Ms. Marvel. We get this little Silence of the Lambs parody speech. And I love that she says Chianti the way that Hannibal says it in the scene. Just says Chianti. It's such a weird way. But we meet Blonsky. Tim Roth is back, my friends. And he claims that he's been rehabilitated. He's on Namaste. He's writing haikus now. He says that it was the government's fault for giving him super soldier serum that led to his actions. He has 7 soulmates. He drops that in there. Our man's got a Manson
very
situation
sus
going
to me.
on, which I love.
Like, not the fact that he has 7 soulmates, but I feel like this could be a tease for something later on at the end of the series.
Voldemort?
But I'll talk about that later.
Voldemort?
Voldemort
they're all
did
his
not have-
Horcruxes? Is that what you're
Nope.
saying?
No, I think
Nope.
that they're teasing like a Dark Avengers scenario where it's just like, hey, like the people are trying to break me out of prison so I can join a team. It's going to be me and 7 other people.
Yeah, there's
I
something
think that's
going
what
on
they're
there.
sort of going for.
For sure. I also just think it's just interesting the way he like talks and the way that he seems to be rehabilitated, and the fact that it works on Jen. She's like, wait a minute, the
Right.
government gave you that super soldier serum? She's pretty hoodwinked pretty quickly for an attorney. You would think
Right.
she'd be like, interesting that you say that. You know what? I'll look into it. If there's something there, that actually might be a good legal course, because the guy's totally lying, right? Like, it wasn't the fact that he got that initial injection of super soldier serum that turned him into Abomination. It was the fact that he went a step further and got Bruce's blood, right? Didn't he get the serum from Bruce's blood, and that's what
Like
made
he
him
was
Abomination?
addicted to the power. He just
Yeah.
wanted to be stronger than the Hulk. And
He
so
made
he
that
forced the
choice.
leader to put the blood in him
Right.
at gunpoint.
I don't think Thunderbolt Ross sanctioned that part of it. Anyway.
No, I don't think Thunderbolt Ross even knows what happened.
I think he
Yeah.
just extended the truth. Like, you know how like I was loaned out to your government, and then he kind of blurred that in
Mhm.
with like, they made me take all these things. And it's like, well, no.
Right. He extended the truth the way you extended the truth about there not being a secret bathroom in the new Rockstars office.
Okay, I'm not. The thing is, I'm not extending the truth as evidence. I wish I could take a photo for you guys. They're right next to each other. It's 2 toilets next to each other in the middle of the office.
Right. I think in this bathroom we'll find Jess's list ranking all the Muppets.
Oh, no, don't bring that back up again. Don't bring that back up again. I started a war because of that list, and I don't want to get back into
I'm
it.
sorry.
I have to see this list.
I'm
No,
sorry.
see, exactly.
So Jen is moved. She decides to take the case. She calls Bruce to tell him about it. Bruce says it's fine. Oh, he wrote me a nice letter. He wrote me a haiku. I'm okay with it. But we find out that Bruce is on this Sicarian courier craft. He zips off to space. We'll talk about where he's going. But Jen sees on the news that video is leaked of Wong and Abomination fighting in that Golden Daggers fighting club in Macau from Shang-Chi, meaning that Wong helped Blonsky escape prison, now complicating Blonsky's parole. And the post-credit scene shows that Jen is back at her family's house helping Morris and Chet fix the car and hang the TV and carry some water tanks into the house. But we gotta start by talking about that sneaked. I got there. Snicked Easter egg. Who's gonna ask the question?
Go for it, Jess.
My voice cracked. Where is Wolverine in the MCU right god dang now?
Right? Bub, we're gonna get to the bottom of it. We already know that mutants exist in the MCU, of course, thanks to Kamala Khan and Ms. Marvel being identified as a mutant, and at D23 next month, Marvel will announce the rest of their MCU mutant plants. I wrote plants, but plans, most likely, but plants might be the right word there, because they are planted and sprouting like Cabbage Patch Kids left and right. And really, if you think about it, right now is the perfect time for Marvel Studios to sneak in a few hints to some famous X-Men sprouting up all over this universe. And why not start with Wolverine, right? Because man fights with metal claws and bar brawl. Obvious nod to Hugh Jackman Wolverine in that first X-Men film in 2000, the first Marvel film that our man Kevin Feige worked on as an associate producer. Really just being the smartest nerd in the room is what got him the career he has today in the control and mastery over everything Marvel in Hollywood. All started with that movie. You remember the scene? Rogue finds Wolverine cage fighting in a bar in Alberta, Canada, but after Logan wins those matches using his regenerative mutation, his adamantium skeleton, not incurring a single scar, he gets confronted by a dude who lost some money on bets. Our man pulls out a switchblade. What was he thinking? Roll the clip.
Look out! Get out of my bar, freak.
He looks like a baby in the first movie, like
He
a
does.
newborn baby boy.
He had
maybe
the
like-
Such a young Wolverine.
Now, we don't know if it was this bar fight in particular that the article was referencing, or if it was just a similar one that the 616 MCU version of Wolverine inevitably got into, because that guy cannot walk into a bar without like punching a jukebox. But my assumption is that Kevin Feige plans to recast Wolverine in 616, yet still acknowledge that the Fox X-Men film continuity lives on in other universes of the multiverse, like, you know, with Patrick Stewart playing Professor X and E38, a Multiverse of Madness. The Wolverine of that universe probably was Hugh Jackman, would be my guess. They all exist. It's all canon. Let's not fight about it. But the article describes Logan as an anonymous man with metal claws. So that must mean he's not yet famous in the MCU. They didn't say mutant gets in fight in bar crawl.
Right.
It said like a man with metal claws does. What is this thing? I don't know. But he's not a member of the X-Men yet. He might not have even met Charles Xavier yet, would be my guess. However, Logan was always the late arriving newcomer to the X-Men, so for all we know, Xavier's mutants might have already been secretly active in the MCU. We just haven't seen them yet. My theory has been for a long time that the mutants were actually present during the Battle of Earth and Avengers Endgame. They arrived from their academy in the neighboring Westchester County of upstate New York, not even upstate New York, really. It's just kind of like right up north of the Hudson River. In the MCU, Xavier's academy might be right next door to Avenger Compound. And that Charles and Scott and Aurora might have helped take down a couple of Leviathans on the other side of that rubble that we just didn't see. I would also just love if the rebuilding of Avengers Compound could be the new form of an expansion of Xavier's Academy. That could be where the Danger Room or Cerebro are built. But I want to ask you two, do you think it's likelier that mutants currently exist in 616 as just kind of a grassroots, unorganized spawning, cabbage patches popping up left and right, and they don't even know what they are yet? Or could there secretly be active collectives of mutants like the X-Men, the Mutant Brotherhood, Hellfire Club, Runaways, et cetera, currently underground in this universe? We just haven't pointed the camera at them yet.
I think that the mutants have slowly been coming out of the woodwork from the events of Avengers Endgame. Because before Endgame, we pretty much knew all the superpowered players. There weren't a lot of superpowered happenings happening in the MCU that that weren't in a movie. But now that we have all these snaps that happened with Thanos' snap, we have Tony Stark's snap, we have possibly even the Hulk snap. Huge tons of radiation, like Rocket says in Endgame, was released onto the planet multiple times. And I feel like the population has changed because of that. And I'm thinking that we're slowly seeing it, maybe possibly with Titania as well, because we have this superpowered woman coming out of nowhere, like, all right, I got beef. It's like, where are all these superpowered people coming from? It's like, it seems that like the post-Endgame universe is sort of like introducing mutants because they've been mutated by the radiations of the Infinity Stones. But I don't know, that's just my idea. But I do like the idea of the X-Men being active and like actively fighting during the battle between Thanos, because like it would be incredible just to see like a cutaway to their perspective. Like, oh man, that'd be dope. That'd be dope as shit.
I like you. MT, you told me this theory before, and I do agree with it at the beginning with the stones affecting how we have mutants now. But I also think that She-Hulk will be like our like start for them to start actually finding each other. I think when Holden referred to them as like superhuman, eccentric superhumans, I think those people don't know yet that they're mutants. And I think that's when we're going to start seeing them coming out of the woodworks and teaming up together, is because we have people like She-Hulk when they're like, yeah, I'm just strong and I crushed a car by accident. And it's like, oh, well, you're actually a mutant. Like that's when they're going to start recognizing who they are and what their abilities actually mean. So I do think in the 616 right now, what we're seeing of Wolverine, he's not teamed up with anyone. And I don't think a lot of them are because they don't know each other yet. But having these bigger platforms like She-Hulk, they'll start finding each other.
I think both of you are speaking some truth here, because it does seem like that would be Marvel Studios' plan, right? To give some causality and some greater weight to everything that happened in the Infinity Saga. And like, if you think of Phase 4 as, they even talked about it as a reactionary phase, right? To what happened in the first 3 phases, introducing new characters, and some of those characters actually being spawned or caused by all the radiation releases by the Infinity Stones, makes a lot of sense. I just want to see the Battle of Earth again from a different front. I want to see Cyclops firing some lasers up at the Leviathan. I want to see Storm causing a tornado. Maybe that water spout tornado that we thought Doctor Strange did all by himself. Maybe Aurora was just on the other side of a wave helping a little bit. I want to see the Battle of Earth with the X-Men there. Like,
that would be so
have my
much
toys
fun.
all together.
Or at least in a What If episode or something. I need to see it. I need to see it.
Sure, that'd be fine. I do wonder, though, if like that robs the mutants of a possible historical origin story, right? Like, I think it's pretty crucial to have, Magneto, Eric Lensher's origin story connected to World War II. And if they're not going to do that, because obviously someone who's like someone in their 60s now wouldn't have been alive in the 1940s, so you need to have some kind of like genocidal refugee crisis to be part of it, to leave him with that spite toward humanity. So if he didn't exist until a couple years ago, you kind of lose that opportunity.
I think for those bigger characters like Magneto, that makes sense. Also, is because I think that question is still up in the air. Well, it's not really a question. We kind of know the answer to it, but like they're like, people are like, keep connecting it to Scarlet Witch. Please connect it to Scarlet Witch. So I feel like those things can be addressed in the MCU, but I don't know if they're going to do the origin for Wolverine because it's been done. So like we've talked about it so much that I don't know if Disney wants to also touch on that and be like, hey, ignore the other movies that really focused on him. We're going to do it again. I could be completely wrong. My views on what the X-Men are going to be handled like in Disney Plus is not clearly everyone's favorite. I have beef. I have beef, I guess.
Well, my thinking is now you have an opportunity to tell the true origin of Wolverine, which is supposed to be connected to the super soldier program of Captain America, right? Like they were trying, by creating adamantium, they were trying to recreate what they had with Steve Rogers and Captain America, and that's how we got Wolverine. So we can truly say, we can use the word adamantium now, we can use the word mutant, we can establish how old, Logan was and how he might have been connected to some of these things, some of these events. Like I think we have an opportunity here to do it. I think the hard part though is to have a character, because not all the mutants are supposed to be like slow aging, right? And you'd have to get around that. I don't know if you could do World War II Erik Lensher without making him like 120 years old or something like that, right? Or not that old.
I think that Marvel Studios may actually be in like a really unique position to actually do this because Kang. And like we know that like the timeline's all messed up and like wormholes be opening. So like I think that Kang Dynasty is probably gonna be how Erik either goes through a wormhole or is somehow, retconned into the history of the MCU. So yeah, I don't think that Marvel's probably gonna write around that.
That's a good point, MT. I don't know if you saw. I gave you a golden rogie buck for that.
Hey,
but,
thanks.
Yeah, you are right. Kang could simplify a lot of these things. My hope, though, is I just don't want them to say all mutants age really slowly. I think that was a really annoying thing for me, at least, in the latter Fox X-Men movies, where you had characters like Hank McCoy and Mystique, who still they looked like Jennifer Lawrence and Nicholas Hoult in the 60s and in the 90s, and that was never addressed. Like, the only characters in the MCU I mean, I guess with Mystique, she's a shapeshifter, so it works. But, like, Hank McCoy's supposed to age. Like, it doesn't make sense that he still looked like Nicholas Hoult in the early 90s and in the 60s.
And he's also supposed to be blue.
Right. Michael Fassbender didn't really age for 30 years. And Magneto is not an ageless mutant. He just controls and manipulates metal. Like, that's not... So I just don't want them to say, like, oh, if you're a mutant, you will look the same across several decades. Like, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, it's not a huge fan
Super
of that.
Soldier Serum, I'll allow. I'll allow Steve Rogers aging very slowly, but not all mutants. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
Anyway, this is a very exciting time. It just makes me look forward to, I just hope that they can establish that, like, everything we saw in the Fox X-Men films can still exist in the multiverse, and we don't have to, like, erase all of that, because there was some great stuff that happened in those movies. Not so great stuff, but also great stuff. Okay, we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode. You know, we all want to Hulk out in the bedroom when the time is right. I'm speaking to the boys, but also everybody out there. But sometimes you might need a little blue to unleash the green, and that's why this episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. Confidence can take you far in life, but it can help in the bedroom. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready for whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. So it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. So if you could benefit from some extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal for our fans. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code of MARVEL at checkout. Just pay the $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code MARVEL to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this show. All right, we have to talk about the big question coming out of this episode. Where is Bruce going on the Sakaar ship? Jess, I'm going to throw this one to you. I want to hear your theories for where blue green monsters go.
I'm sorry. We've talked about it. Everyone's talked about it. Yes, I want to see Scar. I just don't think we're going to get into Scar actually showing up in She-Hulk. I think we're planting the seeds for World War Hulk. Or even if we don't get like that measure of World War Hulk, because in World War Hulk, he's clearly just angry. And I don't think we're going to get that from Smart Hulk. But I do think we're planting the seeds a little bit of that in the situation of like, I think he went back to Sakaar after Thor Ragnarok. That's why he has all of his little knickknacks and all his souvenirs, and he's just been going back. And I think they're reaching out to him because he's the scientist now that's leading a lot of operations there on Sakaar. Because we know that in World War Hulk and Planet Hulk, that like his blood can even just make grass and flowers grow in the soil. I think he's studying a lot of the planet, and I think they're using him as their like lead scientist. So I think he's going back to help with whatever research he was doing when he left. I just don't think he's going back to his son and child, like his wife. Maybe we're planting the seeds of his wife, but I don't think we're starting it. Do you guys agree with me? Am I going crazy? Is that wrong?
No, I think you're exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money there, because I feel like Bruce went to Sakaar to try to help them with their new, because they just freed themselves, and like no one can leave that planet because like it's impossible to leave. So like they need a leader, and like, you know, Bruce is like one of the smartest people in the world, so he's probably just like, all right, I'll help you guys build a society because I'm a nice guy. And, you know, and that like you said, like those could be the seeds for World War Hulk, because now he like is sort of in charge of these people. He cares about these people. Maybe he meets a girlfriend and has a kid, like, and he's like, hey, Jen, you seem to have things handled on Earth. I'm going to stay here because people need me here. You're the Hulk for that planet now. I think that'd be really fun. And it'd be really a nice seed for World War Hulk potentially.
And why wouldn't you want like the strongest? Because they love him on Sakaar. They had millions of parades for him. So why wouldn't you want the strongest man that you know in the galaxy to come protect you guys on your planet? Because it's like, I'd be like, this is the strongest man. Bring him back to watch us all. And he's also smart. And he's smart.
Do you think that Bruce will be able to play that role? Because did they love the personality of Bruce Banner? Or did they love the badass aggro monster dumbass that Hulk was?
I think they love the badass Hulk. Okay, this is like the invention of lying, which is not a good example for this movie. Not a good example, but of just like you have to show back up and be like, here's this, or like Idiocracy. You need to come back and be like, here, let me teach you guys what I can teach. This is horror. Sakar is not Idiocracy, but I'm just saying
it kind of is. Well, I think you're right. Trash
and also
covered.
God damn. God damn. But,
it kind of is. It really is, honestly.
But if you think about it, it's just like if you have someone that shows up and spends the time to teach you guys what's right and wrong and be like, you can use all the trash that was there. I'm sure you can reduce, reuse, and recycle it and use it into better things. So it's like, yeah, why don't I showed you, now I'm going to leave. And they're like, no, wait, come back. We have more problems. And so I think it's going to look like that. They still probably want that like aggressiveness, but it's like you now have like a leader that's a teacher. You have your Maya Rudolph, if you will, for Idiocracy. I don't think anyone watching these are you guys old enough for Idiocracy? I guess that's an older movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we know, especially now that like Idiocracy is basically the world we're living in.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're living it.
100%. Before there was Wall-E, there was Idiocracy. So keep that in mind, people watching.
Basically. The blueprint, the Wall-E blueprint, Idiocracy.
Yeah. I think going to Sakaar seems like the likeliest option. I'm just like curious why Hulk seemed he didn't seem like worried at all. He seemed like he had a steaming cup of coffee there, you know? He's kicking his dirty feet back up on the table.
He had all his research in binders, though. So I think he's just like, I have to bring some more stuff from my lab of Tony Stark's industry tools to Sakaar to finish my study. But he did bring back the evolution. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's probably far-fetched. I just feel like if he's going on an academic mission, like it kind of seems like he'd be hooking up with the High Evolutionary, with Adam Warlock. Like this is the expert on like, what did Tony Stark call in Age of Ultron? Bioorganics, right? Like that's what Hulk knows. He knows how gamma irradiation affects certain physiologies. Like part of me feels like he's going to be connecting with the Kree or some of the other scientists. Who are the people who invented Adam Warlock in the comics?
The Enclave.
The Enclave. Like, I feel like that would be somewhere that Bruce Banner might be summoned to right now. Like, understand how new species are invented or how do we create the perfect being? Like, I don't know.
I would love that for Bruce Banner in the future of the MCU. He's just traveling the planets by ship where, like, Captain Marvel is just zooming past every planet. He's just like, I'm traveling to learn and research a little bit more, but also to teach them what I know.
He's on a TED Talk tour.
Yeah,
like and now Bruce Banner.
I would love that.
And they have an applaud.
I would like that.
Bruce Banner, Smart Hulk.
All right, let's move on and talk about Emil Blonsky, Abomination. There's obviously some questions over why did Wong help Abomination escape. I assume we'll figure that out in future episodes. But like, do we really think Blonsky's truly rehabilitated, or do we think he's full of shit?
I thought he was at first. I truly did. But it is too suspicious that he's asking for Jennifer Walters specifically. Yeah. And I am held on to that. Like, why?
Yeah.
Unless it's to like be like, I want to confront you about and make myself feel, but it's like you're not confronting Hulk, you're confronting his cousin. I don't.
And like he did leave out key details about his transformation, like you said earlier. It's just like, yeah, you force someone at gunpoint to transform you into the Abomination, so you should be in prison. Like that for that alone, that's prison worthy. So. He's playing her a little bit, so I don't.
But the government made me a super soldier. It was just I was following orders, listening to the super soldier serum.
Yeah, like when he was talking, I was kind of like, oh man, that's true, because like he kind of did just really want to be a super soldier and like help people, but he did attach too much of his own ego to that, which is the bad thing. But like wanting to serve the world isn't a bad thing, I guess, but. He's just using that to manipulate Jen and, possibly the government.
Yeah, because in the movie, wasn't it more so that he was just like, I really want to beat him? Like, we need something else that can beat him. And then they made him they gave him the super soldier serum. He got swung against a tree.
Kicked to a tree.
Yeah, he got
right?
kicked right into that tree.
Kicked straight into a tree. And he was like, I still need to beat him. Like, it was more so his own agenda than it even was the government's.
Oh, yeah.
It was
he
just
went
all
rogue.
ego.
Yeah, but I mean, he does, I guess at the end of the day, have a point that if people like, you know, Bucky Barnes can walk around free, like,
Right.
with like a government kind of like pardon, it doesn't really make sense.
I agree with him for that point. Because I'm like, if anything, Hulk should be locked up in here with me as well. Like,
Yeah. For sure. They
it
should all
makes
be
no
right.
sense.
Sokovia and like all that bullshit that Hulk did, like, yeah,
And
it's
oh,
yeah.
in my
He has a
breakdown,
point.
so Jen's dad mentions like, you're a Hulk, and at least you didn't destroy like a city. And I wrote down, I have like a Skrull list of everything he's destroyed in the MCU. And the thing is, the list is genuinely comical of how long it is. He also should be in prison. The amount of times, and at least Abomination now is like, oh, actually, never mind. Never mind. Abomination is fine. I was about to spoil it. I was about to spoil something, and I stepped back.
Ooh.
I stepped back.
Nice.
Well, thank you for stepping back from that ledge, my friend. We would understand though. But I think you are right. They should all be in jail. And didn't we hear that the Sokovia Accords are going to come up on this series? Like the Sokovia Accords make them all criminals. They should all be in jail.
Yes.
Right.
Go straight to jail.
Like I feel like something's happening, and this is maybe this tinfoil hat MT, but like something is happening where I feel like someone is preying on the fears of superhumans to try to control the MCU society. I feel like either they're making superhumans or like I feel like Hydra's probably orchestrating a conflict so that we need the DODC to have more power, and we need like our own Avengers to like fight all this new threat. And I feel like that's sort of what New World Order might be about. But I don't know. I just feel like this Holloway guy, super sketchy. And like his first case for Jen is the parole of Emil Blonsky. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like it feels like a Dark Avengers is forming right now.
Yeah.
I think you're right, MT.
I
do think Thunderbolts / Dark Avengers is behind a lot of this. I think we're going to have a scene with Holloway and Val, and Val's just going to slide a briefcase full of like vibranium over to Holloway. Holloway's like, I don't know what to do with this. I can't even lift it. Like, just sell it.
I'm too weak. I'm too old.
I'm too old. But I think you're right. I want to end with a discussion of this question. What do we think Jen accidentally said she was agnostic toward when Holloway asked her a question while she was doing her voiceover to us? She said, I'm going to ask myself that question all year. I feel like we're going to find out what she said she was agnostic to, but I want to hear both of your thoughts on what she said.
What? Because he brought up money, 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 money. Do you remember that line that he says, like, when she's like, none of these guys ever had to deal with it? And he's like, oh, money, 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 money. Like Mr. Krabs.
I think it was probably like an exaggerated, like, you know, because she's like talking to breaking the fourth wall. And she's like, yeah, he's just saying random bullshit. He's like, money, 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 money. Doesn't matter. But no, the agnostic line, I just thought it was like a funny throwaway line, but like it could, I don't know, potentially be something in terms of like, I don't know, the fact that she can break the fourth wall. It's like, I don't believe in a God. I talk to God all the time. And he's the viewer. This is I mean, not believing in God. It's like, I don't know who's out there, but I'm talking to somebody out there. Because that's agnosticism, right? It's like you don't know what's out there, but you believe in some type of higher power.
I guess it could also mean just like not, but it's so weird. Agnostic is a word that can be used and framed in different ways other than religion, I feel like. I was imagining it was because like he was like, I'm the head up, money, money, money. Here are all these guys that are also the head up who are opposite of you. How do you feel about it? And she's like, I don't believe in any of it. Like, it's just like, it means nothing to me. And he's like, oh, strange. It'd be funny if she just brought up her religion.
Well, his response
I'm just actually agnostic.
He was like, interesting, unprecedented, certainly. Yeah. Like, so my thinking is that he was going off on how people were like trying to sue the Avengers for what Thanos did or something like that. And he's like, well, what do you think about what Thanos did? And she goes, I'm agnostic to it. Like maybe she accidentally said that Thanos did nothing wrong.
He's like,
and he goes, oh,
okay.
I saw that written on a Times Square urinal at some point. But otherwise.
And the person that wrote it was me.
In a legal setting, unprecedented.
Was.
For a superhero to say that. Yeah, or like maybe she's like accidentally said that, like, you know, maybe there was like a discussion that Kilgrave was going around, or that Eros, and he was like, what do you think of if a supervillain were to brainwash someone into loving them? Is that sexual assault? And she goes, I'm agnostic to that. And he goes,
agnostic.
Unprecedented.
Also, what if that's just like her way of getting out of conversations that she clearly wasn't paying attention to? You know how actively people would just go like, yeah. And then people are like, I asked a question. It's like, oh shit. I feel like that was her way of just like, that's her key phrase is like, I'm agnostic. And that's why she's like, I'm going to be thinking about this for the entire year. Why did I say that? And what did he say for me to say that?
I think by the end of the season, she's going, as a result of that conversation, get assigned to defend Johnny Mayonnaise, John Walker, for killing the guy with Cap's shield.
You
and
said
she
you were
said she was agnostic to using Captain America's shield in like a horrible public murder. And that's why she's going to defend other Thunderbolts.
You said you were agnostic to it.
You said you were agnostic.
I think it's hilarious that like her answer that she was like agnostic is in the MCU, considering that one of the Avengers is a god. So she's like, is anybody agnostic anymore? Like, is anybody an atheist? Like, is it possible to be an atheist?
And we got Catholics.
Because gods exist.
We got Catholics.
I think, are you talking about the god being the two gods of Cap's butt cheeks? Because I worship at the altar of America's ass.
Something I'd love to thunderclap.
Oh my god.
Boy.
Well, we'll leave it there for this episode of Inside Marvel. Thank you so much to Jess Clemons and to MT. Follow them on social media for Jess at Lulu_Clemons, MT at MasterTainment. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to Inside Marvel wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out Jess's breakdown coming later today. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And we will see you all next week. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.